Good afternoon from the National Weather Service here in Albuquerque. This is a special weather briefing for February 14th, 2023. We'll highlight a storm system that will be making its way through the northern two-thirds of New Mexico, bringing near blizzard conditions as well as dangerously cold temperatures that are expected through the midweek period. So what can we expect as the system makes its way through the region? Well, first we anticipate snow that's already developing across the Four Corners region will continue to expand and make its way through the Continental Divide as well as the northwestern mountains as we go through the evening hours, and eventually make its way eastward as a cold front sweeps through the region through central New Mexico and eventually departing the eastern portions of the state as we go late in the day on Wednesday. There will be a risk for black ice as we'll have much colder temperatures that make its way through the region, so any water that may be on paved surfaces will certainly freeze, creating slick travel conditions across the region, including the Albuquerque and Santa Fe areas. In addition to the snow, we will also have very strong winds. The strongest winds will most likely be focused across the southern tier of the state, particularly across the upper Gila region and the Sacramento Mountains, where wind gusts up to 60 to potentially 70 miles per hour will be possible in that region. And we also have strong winds that will be anticipated across the northeastern plains of New Mexico as well. And this, in combination with the snow, will create blizzard to near blizzard-like conditions across Union and Colfax counties, creating hazardous travel conditions, potential road closures as well, and that could be a potential risk for Interstate 25 near Raton Pass, as well as U.S. Highways 56 and 64. So what's the timing of this storm system? Well, snow is already starting across the Four Corners region and will continue to migrate its way towards the Continental Divide and Northwest Mountains as we go into the evening hours, and that will continue to make its way through central New Mexico through, let's say, sunrise on Wednesday, and then eventually make its way into the northern mountains and northeastern plains as we go into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. Again, blizzard conditions are expected in the northeast, most likely developing sometime between 8 and 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning, with the worst conditions expected during early to mid-afternoon on Wednesday, and then things start to wind down as we go into late afternoon and into the evening hours. The winds across southern New Mexico will most likely pick up this evening and most likely will be worse probably around 2 a.m. and noon before gradually weakening as we go into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. So what are the impacts we anticipate across our region? Well, certainly snow and blowing snow will certainly create difficult to nearly impossible travel conditions as a result of those icy snowpack roads, also poor visibility, and then we'll certainly anticipate snow drifts as well. So road closures will certainly be a possibility across portions of northwestern and northern New Mexico, with whiteout conditions and near blizzard conditions certainly favoring the northeastern plains of New Mexico, although whiteout conditions certainly can't be ruled out as well across the upper Gila region as well as the Sacramento Mountains. High winds will also lead to the potential for downed trees, maybe roof damage, and certainly power outages will certainly be a concern as well. And then dangerously cold temperatures are anticipated as this storm system makes its way through the region, with very cold temperatures expected, particularly on Thursday morning. What is our confidence in impacts with this storm system? Well, they're actually very high. There are some subtleties in the forecast that are still unclear at this point in time, so stay tuned to the latest forecast and watches and warnings that you may hear through your favorite media channel or here on the National Weather Service. But impacts are certainly going to be expected across the land of enchantment. This animated loop here on the left-hand side shows the potential sustained wind speeds as we go through the remainder of this afternoon and continuing through the overnight and into the day tomorrow. So you do see strong winds this afternoon. They will kind of weaken as we go into the evening hours. But as you see, as the loop repeats here, as we go into the overnight hours, strong winds are anticipated across the upper Gila region and the Sacramento Mountains. And then as we go into the day tomorrow, much broader scope of strong winds are expected across the region. And we do also have a backdoor cold front that will be moving through the northeastern and eastern plains of New Mexico. And that's what's going to contribute to those blizzard-like conditions as we go into the day on Wednesday. The graphic on the right is showing the depiction of the precipitation as it moves through the region, and you can very clearly see as we see the loop start over at the beginning here, there is a cold front that will be sweeping its way through eastern Arizona And as we go through the overnight and through the early morning hours on Wednesday, you see that front making its way through the central portions of the state. That is going to create some hazardous travel conditions, particularly during the morning commute hours, including the Albuquerque and Santa Fe metro areas. So take caution. If you are able to telework or stay home on Wednesday morning, that's probably a best option. But if you do need to travel on Wednesday morning, I'll exercise extreme caution, allow extra time to reach your destination. In addition, as we go into the afternoon hours on Wednesday, you do see the snowfall amplified across the northeastern plains during the afternoon hours, and that combined with the very strong winds will lead to those blizzard-like conditions on Wednesday afternoon. These graphics show the peak wind gusts as we go into the overnight hours. That's the left graphic here. You do see southwest winds will be the strongest across southwest, south central New Mexico, and that does include the upper Gila region and the Sacramento Mountains. And then on the graphic on the right shows the peak wind gusts as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. So some stronger winds are anticipated during the day. You do see it be more of a west-northwesterly component across western and central New Mexico. And then across the northeastern and east central portions of the state, you do see more of a northerly direction behind that backdoor cold front across that region. Strongest winds will most likely favor across the Sacramento Mountains, where we do anticipate potential for wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour, and that's where we do have the concern for potential for localized damage as well as power outages. But with that snow across the northeastern portions of the state, we do anticipate near blizzard conditions across areas of Colfax and Union counties. This is our latest snowfall forecast on the left-hand side, and you do see the greatest snow accumulations obviously will be favoring the higher terrain of western and northern New Mexico, but you do see higher amounts focused across, let's say, areas near Raton Pass, stretching eastward into northern Union County, just near and north of the Clayton area. But other areas, lower elevations, certainly will see their fair share of snow accumulations as well, although they will be lower, but that won't detour to the potential impacts that we will anticipate across the region. So you can see here in the Albuquerque metro area, maybe 1 to 3 inches. Higher amounts near in the Santa Fe area, we could be seeing somewhere as much as 2 to 5 inches in those areas. East Mountains, there will be impacts in those areas as well. As you can see across the northern mountains of New Mexico, widespread areas of 6 to 12 inches of snow, even some higher amounts over the peaks as high as maybe 15 to 18 inches. And then significant snow accumulations favored obviously in the northeastern portions of the state. As I mentioned, there are some uncertainties in the forecast, and I do highlight this area here across southern portions of Colfax and southern portions of Union County, maybe even to Harding County here. There will be a very sharp snowfall gradient across this area. So some areas may not see any, and then in a very short distance, you'll see significant snow accumulations further towards the north. Where that line actually sets up is still a bit unclear at this point in time, so stay tuned to the latest forecast. But the main message here, again, is if you don't need to be out on the roads during this time frame, it's best to stay home and avoid the slick travel conditions across the area. There obviously are some uncertainties in the forecast. It will determine how quickly this storm system moves to the region and how much moisture is available. So then the graphics on the right do showcase maybe a best and worst case scenario depending on how much, if you're a snow lover or prefer to see more snow for the ski sites. But as you can see here, most areas across western central New Mexico and even northern New Mexico, those are the best chances of where you'll see snow accumulations across our area. We do have winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in effect already across northern and western New Mexico and parts of central portions of the state as well. Those will remain in effect for many areas through Wednesday afternoon. And then the graphic on the right showcases the strong winds that we are seeing right now during the afternoon hours on Tuesday afternoon. We do anticipate further wind advisories and high wind warnings will be possible as we go into tonight and continuing into Wednesday. So stay up to date to the latest forecast on those areas that will be at greatest risk for strictly just wind impacts across those areas. Cold temperatures, as we mentioned, will be a concern Wednesday, and particularly as we go into Thursday morning. You see on the graphic on the left, these will be the Thursday morning lows. Several locations across the north and west will drop below zero. Many areas across central and eastern New Mexico could potentially see its coldest temperatures of the season. Even the Moreno Valley up there, near Angel Fire, could drop as cold as minus 20 degrees by Thursday morning. On the right-hand side is the dangerous wind chills, and so those cold temperatures combined with very strong winds will lead to wind chills dropping into the negative teens and negative 20s across northern and western New Mexico. So this could potentially lead to frostbite for exposed skin. So limit your outdoor activities if you could possibly do so. Winter safety emergency kit is really important if you do happen to have to travel during this time frame. So ensure that you have a blanket, make sure you have a cell phone charger so you can call for emergency services if it's needed. Ensure that you take water and some food, a flashlight, particularly if you happen to be traveling at night, and make sure your tank is full before you even decide to depart out. Allow extra time to reach your final destination, and do know that road conditions can change very quickly. And with that black ice I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this briefing, those are very hidden hazards that may not be very apparent as you're traveling along. In addition, the wind chills are going to be very dangerous across our area. So don't forget about the pets as well. If it's too cold for you to be outside, it is also too cold for your pets to be outside as well. So make sure they have a nice warm and dry place and plenty of food and water so they can endure this storm as well. That is the weather briefing here for this Tuesday afternoon. Stay up to date to the latest forecasts at weather.gov/ABQ and on our social media accounts as well. Please stay safe.